Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
I am that dude, Bodkins.
Yeah, DP lost like, deep. Yeah.
Right. Where he's wondering, he's like, I can't.
Patty to patty.
One style, like no weight classes.
Yeah, basically, like I said, there's been a couple guys that are like,
It's ridiculous. No way. There's nobody else out there. He's your guy.
That's just not my mentality, bro.
Yeah. Leave the ladder down. That's my always like, hey, somebody helped you out. Why not help somebody else out? Return.
Give a big round of applause for the one and only Bodkins Show.
Or bringing Craig Counsell down the interstate in a move unexpected. I have people.
I'm going to repeat that again, folks. I didn't stutter. Welcome to the Bodkins Show.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another great episode of the Bodkins Show. I am your host, Bodkins. Oh, man, it is another wild week in the NFL. Week 10 now only has 2 games to go. Johnny, the morning games were all really, really close. Kansas City, by hook or by crook, they find a fucking another way to win. I mean, the Chiefs. It's their world, and we're just living in it, buddy. The afternoon games all stunk. They were all blowouts. I mean, there wasn't one good game. There wasn't a game worth watching in the afternoon. I mean, really, there really wasn't. They were all over by halftime, at least for the most part, third quarter for sure. But the early slate games, man, I absolutely love Baker Mayfield, man. I mean, I don't know if you caught that play where he is stiff arming Bosa and for 5 yards and then throws a dart in a team. They ended up losing that game really because their defense and the game should have never been close. Moody missed like 4 field goals up to prior to that, but does make the game winner. Man, what a wild day. We talked about the Steelers and Commanders, that being the game of the day, and that game delivered. It was absolutely back and forth. Wilson hits Mike Williams for the game winner, a guy they just acquired on Thursday. Commanders couldn't go down and score, and then they actually hop off sides. The Steelers are going to go for it on 4th down. They get them to jump. Steelers win. How about this matchup next week for the AFC North? Ravens, Steelers both only have, 3 losses, like old school rivalry game happening next week. Steelers haven't played anybody in their division until next week, but man, the Steelers team looks fun. That Commanders team, even though in the loss, they still look good. The Cowboys are an absolute shit show. The Giants are a shit show. The Giants might be the worst team in the league.
Yeah, I think they very well could be the worst team in the league. They're definitely a nominee for turd of the week. Not only the quarterback, but the whole franchise. There's a couple franchises, 2 of them being in New York or / New Jersey, that both look like total shit today.
Yeah.
The Cardinals absolutely put it on them this afternoon. I'm with you. The early slate of games were a lot of fun games. We talked about watching Red Zone today, and it was a lot of fun to be able to watch the Red Zone because that early slate was just a lot of good, fun football games, a lot of close games. So it was constantly just jumping back and forth the screen to each game. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, it started out the day with an absolute shit show with Carolina and the Giants, and then it ended with 3 horrible 4:00 games, all blowouts, including the Jets getting their asses stomped by the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray looks about as comfortable as possible back there today. So it was definitely a fun day to watch football. This is one of the advantages of your team either being on a bye like your Packers are, or my team playing tomorrow night. You can just kind of sit back and enjoy the full slate of Sunday football. So it was a lot of fun, man. A lot of good games. I'm with you with Pittsburgh. Washington, like you said, even in defeat, they look good. The Drake May kid in New England, they look like they might have found their quarterback. The kid is is pretty comfortable in the
Good
pocket.
team guy, too. Good team guy.
He made some plays. You can see that the team rallied behind him. You know what I'm saying? He moved the offense well. So New England might have found themselves a nice young quarterback. We mentioned Washington with Daniels. And then there's that first overall pick that went to Chicago, and that was a complete shit show that Chicago put up today as well. So this is a lot for us to talk about, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, and I want to get to the Caleb Williams game real fast. He was sacked 8-9 times. Like, you're getting people on Twitter, is he a bust? Is he this? First of all, the offensive line is shit. The head coaching, the coaching and play calling shit. I don't want to say he's a bust yet. It's only 8 games into his fucking career, y'all. Like, and he's not putting up.
Calm down. Yes, calm down with the
They
bust
haven't
thing.
scored a single point in like 30 drives or something like that, and they haven't scored a touchdown in 2 total games. But some of that's not all his fault. It's not his fault that he's getting sacked 8 to 10. Maybe some of them were, but that's on the offensive line, the play calling and coach. That team has quit on their coach. That's the reason I picked the Patriots. I said the Patriots have responded to Drake May and to Gerard Mayo after he called them soft, and they've been playing better. Like Drake May they found it. That's a dude like Drake May. And then he comes in afterwards and the press conference says, give it up for my defense. Like, you know what I mean? Can we get 2 claps for the defense? And, so like, that's a dude. Like, he is all about his guys and his team. So like, I think like, that's what I like to see from young guys. That's what you're seeing in Washington rallying around him. I don't know if we are getting that in Caleb, but let's pump the brakes on is the kid a bust question.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It's 8 games into it. We've had this discussion before about young quarterbacks. The media and fans always want to throw out that bust word way too early with these young quarterbacks. Give them an opportunity to develop. We've also had a discussion with the way Chicago built the team around Caleb. Although we did like the skill position pieces that they put around him, they did absolutely nothing for him as far as offensive line wise.
Yeah, the same thing that happened to Justin Fields has happened to him. He's getting killed.
Yeah, exactly right. Whereas New England and Washington, they made sure that they drafted offensive linemen. New England always has good offensive lines, including a couple that they picked up a draft pick early last year with their first round pick, and they drafted a young offensive lineman this year. Washington did the same thing. You have to protect these young quarterbacks. You gotta build the game plan and not expect them to be the end all be all for your team year one right off a jump. You know what I'm saying? So you got to protect them. You got to run the ball, play the defense. And that's what New England and Washington has been doing that all year. New England starting to get better. Like you mentioned, Mayo making a comment about the team being soft. They seem to have responded from that in a good way. So I like what I've seen there. I wouldn't call Caleb Williams at all bust. He's that type of player where he does a lot of off-platform stuff, but at the same time, he's got no time in the pocket at all. So it's not like he can even sit there and try to read through his progressions. He has no time for that. So he has to run around. So some of the sacks are his fault because he's trying to make a play. But on the other hand, he has absolutely no time. So he's running for his life the whole time. So, but no, not a bust yet, but they're going to have to do something this offseason to solidify that offensive line for him.
Yeah, let's pump the brakes. And they're going to have to find him a new head coach, a new offensive coordinator, because the writing's on the wall there for
which is what they honestly should have done for this season.
Yes.
Bring a rookie quarterback. You could have had a new coach and started off fresh with a clean slate.
Typical Bears the last 3 years. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing multiple times, expecting different result.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what I mean? The Bears are insanity. You look all the way back to like Mitch Trubisky. Fox didn't want Trubisky. He was a lame duck coach. They fire Fox and have Trubisky. Then they bring in Nagy. That doesn't work. And then Nagy's about to get fired. He's on his last year. They draft Justin Fields. They fire Justin. You know what I mean? They fire Nagy.
Right.
Then they bring in. I don't even know who the coach was between Nagy and this new guy. Or they brought in Fields, I guess, right? Or then they bring in Eberflus, I guess.
Eberflus,
yeah, Eberflus is. And then they get rid of Fields and they draft Caleb Williams. and Eberflus is about to get fired. So it's like three coaches, multiple coaches, multiple quarterbacks. They should have fired Eberflus and brought in a guy directly to work with Caleb last year. This year. It's a mess. He's not a good head coach. He's on the future fired coaches list. So,
yeah, I'm with you on that. The organization doesn't seem to line up the things correctly.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like you're letting a lame duck coach.
I think there's two different GMs in theirs too. So
yeah, that's never good. If you have two, that means you don't really have one.
Yeah, well, I meant like in those three coaches hiring.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? There's
that's what I'm saying. So there's no stability. There's no continuity with your front office or your coaching staff. And then again, you had two shots at a top draft pick at quarterback. But yet you weren't happy with the coach, and still you kept the coach on to coach the rookie year of both of these young quarterbacks, and that's a mistake. You're essentially wasting their rookie seasons.
Yeah, they all three. If you go back, like I said, all the way back to Mitch
Trubisky, which I mean, that just shows how ignorant Chicago was. They literally traded up one spot to get Mitch Trubisky because they heard that somebody was going to jump over them when that was never going to happen.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you had, wasn't that the Patrick Mahomes draft and the Deshaun Watson draft? Yeah, you had Patrick Mahomes, and yes, Deshaun Watson has turned out to be a bad person off the field.
Draft. Was that the Lamar went last in the draft too?
Yeah, Lamar went 32nd in that draft.
Yeah,
and that's another one there. Chris Greer from the Miami Dolphins, because Stephen Ross was banging on the table. The owner, he wanted the Dolphins to draft Lamar Jackson, and the front office convinced him not to. So good job, Chris Greer. Another one of those could have beens or what ifs in the life of a Miami Dolphin fan.
Let's jump into I mentioned future fire coaches. I believe Brian Daboll is going to be probably one of them. I don't care what the owner says. The GM's going to get fired. Head coach probably should get fired. The one thing's for sure is Daniel Jones is probably playing his last, I guess, 6-7 games. Or I guess they played 10, so 8 games left as a New York Football Giant because absolute dog shit. And kudos to Carolina here, back-to-back wins, Johnny, 20-17. Bryce Young is looking a little bit better. Daniel Jones, 23 of 37, 190 yards, 2 interceptions against the worst, physically the worst defense, statistically the worst defense in the NFL. Tyrone Tracy, 18 carries, 103 yards, and a touchdown. Nothing really, again, in the passing game against the worst defense statistically in the NFL. Bryce Young, 15 of 25, 126 yards, 1 touchdown. Chuba Hubbard, they gave him the extension and they used him today. 28, 153 yards, 1 touchdown. Jalen Coker, 3 for 41. Panthers win in overtime in Germany in a crap game, but the story coming out is Giant fans, well, they're just pissed that they had to watch Daniel Jones for 8 more games.
Yeah, and it was a bad looking performance by Daniel Jones too. He was missing wide open receivers. But I want to give
7 more games. 18 weeks, 7. There's they only play 17 games. So sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. But this is another example of the wanting to give up on a player too early and calling him a bust. Everybody was already labeling Bryce Young a bust. Not that he's putting up, great numbers, but he's doing what the team is asking him to do. They ran the ball effectively today on the back of Chuba Hubbard. They played good defense, I guess. I don't know if it was good defense or just playing against a horrible team in the Giants, but they made the plays they needed to make, and they won 2 games in a row. So good for Bryce Young. I'm sure he could use the confidence boost. But Daniel Jones is just, and I tried to defend him the last couple of weeks, saying that he wasn't playing all that bad, but he looked absolutely horrible today. And again, missing wide open receivers. They had opportunities in this game, and he's just not very good, man.
They might be the worst team in the league. They might be the worst team. Technically, right now they'd be the number 1 draft pick. They'd have number 1 draft pick, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Like, they're awful.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just it. And I like Brian Daboll. I really do. But that team stinks. They have Daniel Jones is awful. They set this in motion. We've said it again, and we'll pound it again. Jim Behringer's pounded it. We all said it. The day they gave Daniel Jones that extension and didn't pay Saquon is the day that doomed the franchise for the next 3 years afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely agree with that because they could have moved on from Daniel Jones. They could have re-signed Saquon Barkley, and they could have they already could have pivoted away from Daniel Jones, and they could have anybody. I mean, God only knows what their options were at quarterback, but it would be better than what they have right now. And they've got some good defensive pieces. They drafted Malik Neighbors in the first round this year. The running back kid that had over 100 yards, even though he did fumble in overtime, he seems to be a decent player. But that was their mistake. They went with the quarterback as opposed to the running back, and now we're seeing, they're gonna have to deal with it for the next couple of years. I mean, they'll probably wind up with a top 2 or 3 pick this year, so they should get a quarterback.
Yeah,
but their franchise player.
The contract after this year, they can void it out.
They're done after this year, so they'll be drafting a quarterback. But you could have had your rookie quarterback last year or even the year before, and you could have had him having Saquon in the backfield as a safety blanket.
Yeah.
For him, and instead, Saquon went down the road to Philly, and now he's balling out in Philly. So, I mean, that's where one bad decision could just doom your franchise for several years.
And we all knew it then, and that was the sad thing. Like, we all knew it then.
Right.
Bo, you're saying DJ's pretty terrible. I would say he's fucking terrible. I mean, you're saying it nice and kind. He is awful.
Bo is just trying to be gentlemanly about it.
Hey, we don't got to be gentlemen here on the Bodkins Show. We 100. You know what I mean? We keep it real. And we get to we talked about just a little bit ago, Drake May and the Patriots, they get their third win of the season. It's a 19-3. Bears fall to 4-5. Again, they haven't scored I believe it was 20 consecutive drives or a touchdown in 20 consecutive drives, and they haven't scored a touchdown in 8 in 2 total games now. Drake May 15-25, 184 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Ramon Stevenson, 20 carries for 74. You get to the Bears. I mean, there is nothing to even talk about the Bears offense. Caleb was 16-30, 120 yards. No run game, 16-59 for DeAndre. Keenan Allen only had 5 for 44. I don't really have other much than this than that. We both feel like Drake May's a dude, and the Bears, Eberflus is on the future fired coaches list.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. You know what I'm saying? Drake May looks like he's a player, and New England looks like they're rebuilding properly around him. Caleb Williams is still wait and see. You can obviously see the potential that the kid has, but they haven't really done a good job of building it around him. They got some names. You know what I'm saying? You mentioned Swift, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore. They traded for last year.
They got a good Madden team. You know what I mean?
They drafted a kid out of Washington, so they've got players there, but the foundation, which is the offensive and defensive lines, are where they're missing out on. So we'll find out what's going on with Chicago down the road. But I like what New England's doing, which is hard for me to say as a Dolphin fan, but I got to keep it real. I like what I see out of that kid, man. He seems like he's a baller.
He seems like a leader of young men. A leader of men. And that's what you want. As far as you mentioned they drafted Roma Dunze, I think in the top 10. I don't know. You probably should have drafted a fucking left tackle or a tackle. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yep.
Instead, you wanted to. They got a good Madden team. They're fun to play on Madden, but they ain't good. They ain't fun to play in real life. They're not good in real life.
It's just absolutely true. Yep.
So, let's get into this game. Was a lot of fun. We get the CMC is back, man, and the 49ers looked a lot better. Again, this game probably not as close as it should have been. Moody missed 2 or 3 field goals. Does kick the game.
Yeah, he missed 3 of them.
Yeah, 3 of them, right? And then, but makes a game winner. So it makes the one that matters. 49ers win 23-20. Again, Baker Mayfield's one tough SOB. Some of the plays and throws he makes, it's just I'll say it again. I even tweeted out, Cleveland, sorry about your bad luck, but I don't feel sorry for you. You know what I mean? You ran this kid out of town, and he was labeled as a bust at one time. You know what I mean? Like, and look at him now. You know, like they lost today, but they ain't losing because of him. You know, they ain't losing because they're losing because some of it's lack of talent because their top 2 wide receivers are hurt. But Brock Purdy, again, I mentioned this on Football Talk with Bo's podcast. I don't understand the hate that this kid gets because all this kid does play well. 25 of 36, 353 yards, 2 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey, 13 for only 39 yards, but you know it's more that it's out there. Juwan Jennings, 7 for 93. Ricky Pearsall, 4 for 73 and a touchdown. Remember, he's just coming off the getting shot when he was shopping. His first career touchdown in only like his second game. Baker, 18 to 29, 116 yards, 1 touchdown. Bucky Irving, 13 for 73 and a touchdown. Rashad White, 6 for 39 and a touchdown. Again, there's just no receivers for Baker to throw it to. It's all the backs and tight ends now that Godwin and Evans is hurt. Your thoughts here on you know a thrilling game really between the Bucs and the Niners, but man, back-to-back tough losses here for the Bucs. You look back at Monday night where they should have won that game, and then today's game where another heartbreaker.
Yeah, I mean, Baker definitely gave them every opportunity to win that game, making the plays that he was making. You mentioned him being down his top 2 wide receivers, but he was out there. He was out there fighting, trying to make plays. I don't understand the hate for Purdy either. I mean, they want to label him a game manager. Well, yeah, but he does it very well. And even though Christian McCaffrey, you mentioned the stat, he only had 39 rushing yards, but just his presence out there on the field draws so much attention that other people are able to eat because he's out there on the field. Plus, he had 6 catches, including a beautiful over-the-shoulder catch by Christian McCaffrey. But they're just a completely different offense when he's on the field. But yeah, man, I wish Moody would have made a couple more kicks, would have covered the spread. And that would have been one more of my wins. But no, I'm a fan of Baker Mayfield. I like his attitude. I like his swag. A lot of people used to say that he was a bit too much. Yeah, he might have been a bit too much, but that's what got him to the position that he was in. You know what I'm saying? He was a walk-on in college, and he had to work his way and bust his ass to get to the position that he got to. And I think he's matured since he's gotten here to Tampa Bay. They love him down here in Tampa Bay, bro. They absolutely love him, the fans. And I'm glad that they found themselves a good young quarterback. They gave him the contract this offseason, and it's not like he was asking for to be top paid. You know what I'm saying? He just wanted a fair deal, and he wanted to make sure that there was money for other players. So I think the Bucs found their quarterback. If they can get some guys healthy, they still have an opportunity because, you know, we're going to talk about them in a little bit, but Atlanta laid an absolute egg today. So the Bucs are still possibly in that division chase in the NFC South. But I love everything about Baker Mayfield and the Bucs. And San Francisco, they needed this win. This was a big win for San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco needed this one to stay pace with this NFC West. Real quick on what Scott said. Yeah, they do have an easy schedule ahead after the bye week when they do get Mike Evans back. They got the Panthers, the Raiders, the Chargers. Could lose that one. The Cowboys, the Panthers, and then the Saints. So all winnable for the most part. Winnable games. They can beat the Chargers. But to that, I say this: they lost both games to the Falcons. So they own the tiebreaker. That's like, you know what I mean? Like that, they couldn't even split it. It's the fact that they lost to them twice. So like that's the toughest part for them. And we'll look at the Falcons schedule here in just a minute. But let's talk about, man, I thought we were going to get the upset of the day. The Chiefs, Johnny, they by hook or by crook, they find fucking ways to win. I mean, they run whatever stat you want. They said, this team has the most come from behind wins. It's not even like Patrick Mahomes is doing shit. They still find a fucking way to win. A blocked field goal. I mean, Denver was winning this game really from Jump Street, from and then it was 14-16. Again, Denver misses didn't even miss a blocked. I don't know if I'd rather had it miss. It was a chip shot too at that point in time, and they blocked it. And the fact that they blocked it makes it even crazier. Bo Nix, again, a decent game for Bo Nix, 22 of 30, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns. Denver's not asking him to do a whole lot, and he's playing well. He's playing within himself. He's not hurting the team.
Right.
Cortland Sutton, 6 for 70, one touchdown. Vele, 4 for 39 and a touchdown. The Chiefs, again, Patrick Mahomes, not a great day, 28 of 42, 266 yards, 1 touchdown. That to Travis Kelce, who became the all-time touchdown leader in Chiefs history. So Kareem Hunt, 14 carries for 35 yards. Chiefs are going to be the Chiefs, and they find ways to win, Johnny. That's the only thing I mean. And real quick, Bo Nix is not getting nowhere near the love he should be for what this Denver team is doing.
Yeah, I agree with that for the most part. And watching some of that game, obviously through Red Zone, but I did watch some of that game. He isn't doing too much. I agree with that. He's doing what they're asking him to do. There were a couple plays that he just missed that were potential touchdowns that would have given them a bigger lead earlier in the game. But he still had the team in position to win. But freaking Chiefs, I mean, great teams find a way to win games. I'm not the biggest fan of kind of settling for that field goal there at the end. They had opportunities to kind of go down the field a little further, and they just, they chose to just run straight up the middle and kill the clock basically, and then just go for the field goal.
Because you were in almost the red zone. You know what I mean?
I get it, but at the same time, you had enough time to maybe take a shot, and then again, at the same time, if you wind up throwing a pick or something like that, then you're gonna get you're gonna get killed for that. Yeah. So I get it, but at the same time, you had been moving the ball on them, so why not try to make a play? But again, the Chiefs just find a freaking way to win the game. I'm just, we won it as far as our picks. So I think we all picked Denver to cover because, the Chiefs hardly ever cover anything, but they just always find a freaking way to win a game. And of course, like as a Dolphin fan, it was irritating because the Bills hit a 61-yard field goal to beat us last week, and fucking Chiefs wound up blocking a 30-something yard field goal, and homeboy got through that line with ease too.
It's
man,
like
on
they
that
just
block.
said, "Hey, see you later. Let him come through." Yeah.
It's just crazy, man. But I mean, great teams find a way to win games. Because again, there were opportunities where Denver could have kind of pulled away from Kansas City, but they just weren't able to make that last play to take a touchdown lead or something like that. And then, of course, Kansas City goes up on them at the end. But, Bo Nix has been playing well for a rookie as well. You know what I'm saying? Again, we talk about this rookie quarterback class, and he was the 3rd or 4th quarterback taken, and he's playing well for Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos. So it was a fun game right down to the wire, and Kansas City made the play they needed to make by blocking that field goal to win the game. So they are still the only undefeated team left in the league. They haven't lost in almost a full calendar year, which is insane. But I mean that's what great teams do, man. So they found a way. We'll see what happens.
Last year, right?
Yeah,
Christmas.
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah. I think they said something like 320 something, 30 something days and stuff like that. So it's just it's a crazy number. But you know what I'm saying? Denver had, like I said, there were a couple plays there where Bo Nix missed some deep passes that could have gave them opportunities to throw another touchdown on the board. But they're still in a good position. I think Denver is in the AFC. But I think Kansas City, I think they're destined to be the number 1 seed, man. I don't see they find ways to win even when they don't play all that well. So I don't see who's gonna beat them, bro.
They haven't played a great game all year.
No.
Like top to bottom, you know what I mean?
And then knowing them, they'll wait until playoff time, and then they'll just start slaughtering everybody.
Yeah, week 1, I think, against the Ravens, was their best week, and that wasn't. Jared Goff just got intercepted there, but yeah, I mean, it's you're right. Like they ain't played great. I don't think they played like a complete game all year.
No,
real quick. I want to go back to that 49ers game. The misses they're gonna say Jake Moody, but something I didn't see it. I don't know what happened, but the center had something to do with it. the long snapper, because him and Debo went at each other. Debo was pushing him after one of the missed field goals. So I don't know if like the long snapper with like bad snap or something, but then the long snapper was shouting at Debo on the Bucks. I just remembered that. So
yeah, I did see some kind of a clip about that or something. I mean, I'm sure that maybe the snaps were a little bit off or whatever. But if that's the case, that's a problem, bro. That's your one job, bro. That's your one job is to snap that ball for the field goals. But
you can be either, because you can't afford to try to pick a fight with Debo Samuel either.
Right, but I'm sure if you ask
go with Debo every time.
Yeah, if you ask Moody, he probably says that he needs to make those kicks, which you know what I'm saying, you still got to find a way to make those kicks. But
yeah,
he made the last one, which was the most important one to win the game for them. So it was an interesting game. That was a fun one to watch, man. And I got to see that play live that you were talking about with Baker basically stiff arming Bosa, which it almost seemed like Bosa was scared to like be too aggressive with him and then catch a personal foul penalty or something. You know what I'm saying? Which gave Baker the opportunity to make that play, but for him to be able to still throw a dart for a first down, because I think that was a fourth down play too.
It was.
So you know what I'm saying, that was just a great play all around and stuff. But it was a lot of fun, man, watching football today.
Yeah. Real quick, Scott, is Cortland Sutton one of the most underrated wide receivers in football? Yes. Yeah. When he's healthy, he's good. And he was saying here about the Chiefs next week will be Buffalo. Buffalo has the number in the regular season about the Chiefs. So we'll see. Speaking of Buffalo, they have put it on the Colts here, 30-20. Josh, 22 of 37, 288 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also ran one in. Is tied second all time, only behind Thurman Thomas for rushing touchdowns. Is Josh Allen. He tied with the juice today, O.J. Simpson. James Cook, 19 carries, 80 yards, and a touchdown. Matt Collins, 4 for 86. Khalil Shakir, 6 for 58. I mean, the Bills, this game got a little bit close at one point. Joe Flacco, 272 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, though. Jonathan Taylor had himself a game, 21 carries, 114 yards. Just unfortunately for me and as a fantasy owner, couldn't find the fucking end zone. Alec Pierce, 4 for 81 and a touchdown. Flacco did not look great in this game, the 3 interceptions, but the head coach said he's our quarterback going forward until otherwise.
Yeah, like what exactly is going on in Indianapolis with Richardson, bro? Like you know what I'm saying, you took him, what was it, 4th or 5th overall? You know what I'm saying, he started out last year, then he got the injury, he was out most of the season. You start him out to start this season.
He sucks.
You want to talk about busts? Like, that's the person that they should be talking about as a possible bust. And again, I don't even want to throw that totally on him yet because it's still early in his career. But you can still
he needs to but the one person that when they drafted, everybody knew he was a project.
And that's the shit. You don't draft a fucking project with a top 5 pick, bro.
Or if you sit him for a little while.
Right, you sit him for at least the first year and make sure you have a reliable person to be the quarterback, not a 58-year-old Joe Flacco who is remembering that he's Joe Flacco. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the whole organization was just, the way they went about that was completely ass backwards. My wife's a Gator, so I got to see a lot of Anthony Richardson's games, and he did not impress me. Yes, he has an absolute bazooka of a gun, and he can run, but he is inaccurate as hell. He doesn't read the defense. And then again, with the whole tapping out because after the run because he got tired, shows his inability to lead a team. So that was just, to me, that was just a horrible draft pick. Again, I don't want to completely call him a bust because he could still develop and possibly become something. But I don't like the way they're handling him either. So I have no idea what the Colts are doing, bro.
Things are getting worse in Indy. Kenny Moore II, their corners.
Yep. This is calling people out.
Yeah, this is his direct quote. I don't think everybody is working as hard as possible, and obviously it's showing. I'm not the type to sugarcoat it. Honestly, I don't think the urgency is there. I don't think the details are there. I don't think the effort is there. I don't see everything correlating from meetings to practice to games, and it shows. And it sounds like head coach. That means the team is not. Hey, that's on the head coach.
Yeah, that's everybody catching strays. Everybody calls strays there. The head coach, the position coaches, the coordinators, the GM, the players.
If we're not oriented, and the effort is there. That's on the head coaching and some of the players. Obviously, but the coaching is requesting the detail and the effort to be there.
Right, and I think it has to go to the top with the GM. You know what I'm saying? He's the one that chose to take Richardson in that draft.
Yeah, Ballard.
Ballard. You know what I'm saying? And he's done some pretty good stuff, and they've had opportunities. I mean, they completely mismanaged and mishandled Andrew Luck's career as well. They never gave him an offensive line. Forcing the young man to retire early because he was taking such a beating. And then you draft this completely raw quarterback here. I don't know. The Colts are a complete mess. So
well, you forget that they went through the old head cycle of quarterbacks. Remember,
Phillip Rivers. Yeah, everybody was there. Everybody was there, and not one of them stuck. And then they drafted this kid, and now they're not even playing him. So, but Buffalo handled their business. They Josh Allen, who's been having a great year. Did not have the best of games today with those few interceptions, and they were ugly interceptions too. But he did what they had to do. They play really good defense. They've committed to running the ball a lot more this season than in past years, and it's definitely helped them out on the defensive side of the ball. Gregory Rousseau, who I was so upset when they drafted that kid because I knew he was going to turn into a stud. He's becoming a monster player, the defensive end for Buffalo. They've got some good young pieces there, and they did just enough to put a very subpar Colts team away, pretty much with no problem.
Yeah, the Colts. They're going to have a lot of problems, and Shane Steichen, he might be on the future fired coaches list after a game like today. Their defense isn't very good. Their defense is one of the worst in the league. So
and that's what I'm saying. And then it's like who's gonna want? I mean, again, I know there's only 32 of these jobs, so somebody's gonna want that job. But who's gonna want Anthony Richardson as that quarterback?
Well, you got to find the guy that's gonna. This is how we're gonna run the show. You know what I mean?
Right. So that's you're handcuffing whatever coaching staff you bring into it now. You know what I'm saying? So. I don't know. We'll see what happens with the Colts, but they're in for a long season, bro.
Alan wants to know: is anyone got a bandwagon I can hop on? I would hop on the Commanders bandwagon, Alan.
I think that would be hard for Alan to do, being a Dallas Cowboy fan. But hey, man, either one of these two. I mean, you can't go with the Commanders, probably that. But Pittsburgh's a good one to jump on.
Yeah, I don't know
if you just want to follow a team this year. But I guess Pittsburgh and Dallas has a lot of history as well too, so maybe not.
Prior to
Allen, man, you got to ride or die, Allen, man. You got to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The good times or the bad, you got to ride with your team, bro. That's the way it is. You think I'm happy being a Dolphin fan right now? Hell no. But I can't abandon ship. You know what I'm saying? I got to stick it out. It is what it is. That's what being a fan is all about.
Amen to that. Russell Wilson, let's get into the game. We talked about it a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Said it on this morning show. This was the game to watch, and by God, it delivered. Steelers get to 7-2 with a 28-27 win over the Commanders. Commanders 7-3, so they lost week 1 to the Bucks. After that, they've only lost to the Ravens and Steelers. That's pretty darn good company. Now I know they played the best of teams, but when you're a rebuilding young team and you're winning, and they look good in their losses, like, you know what I mean? Like they've been respectable in their losses. Russ Wilson, 14-28, 195 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Jalen Warren, 14 for 66. Nash, 21-53 and a touchdown. George Pickens had himself a game, 5 for 91 and a touchdown. Mike Williams, 1 for 32 and a touchdown, the game winner. Pat Fairmouth had 3 for 17 and a touchdown. You get to the Commanders here. Jaden Daniels, 202 yards, no touchdown passes in this one. Austin Eckler, 13 for 44 and 2 touchdowns. Terry McLaurin, 5 for 113. this game had some ups and downs and some weird things. Pittsburgh, the Commanders didn't cover one of their gunners. Pittsburgh goes for it like on their own fourth down, like in their back 15, and the dude should have caught it, and he probably runs it in for a fucking touchdown. And then I think the Commanders had a blocked punt or a turnover in that block or a muffed punt in that game. So, but nonetheless, Steelers find a way to win. So I like both these teams, and the Steelers, they got a team with that defense, can beat just about anybody.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I mean, it's one of those, bro. I don't even know how to think on that, Alan. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, I want my team to win because I want my team to win, but at the same time, I want them to get a high draft pick. But at the same time, I don't trust my GM. So, Dolphin fans are in a world of hurt, Alan. I don't even want to talk about it, bro. My team ain't even playing today. Please don't. I don't want to talk about the Dolphins no more. Pittsburgh, I love Pittsburgh. I love Mike Tomlin. And they did it right. They knew they were going to go in a different direction as far as quarterback this year. They made the move to get both Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. And what did they do to return back to the identity of running the ball and playing good defense? They drafted 2 top offensive linemen in the first 3 rounds. They drafted a defensive lineman. They got back to who they are. You know what I'm saying? They built up the interior offensive and defensive lines of that team. They're playing really good defense. They got a good young secondary. They got some skill. Pickens is a stud. You know what I'm saying? They made the trade, to get another wide receiver there. They let Justin Fields hold it down while Russell Wilson was getting healthy, and now Russell Wilson is in there, and he seems to be playing good complementary football, which was what he was at his best when he was in Seattle, when they ran the ball and he did play action and stuff like that. When they tried to let Russ cook is when he started having problems. Pittsburgh ain't asking him to do that. Pittsburgh is asking him to play smart football. That's what he's doing. And they found a way to win that game. That was a very fun game. I don't agree with that crazy-ass fake punt, even though the play was there, but homeboy just couldn't get the ball to him. But that made that game a lot more interesting than it could have been. But it was a fun game between 2 really good teams. Washington, I know they're upset about the loss there, but they should be able to hold their heads up high because you lost to a really good Pittsburgh team. I can't wait for that Pittsburgh-Baltimore game. Those are going to be fun to see what happens there because I like what Pittsburgh is doing offensively, and Baltimore's had some problems on the defensive side of the ball. So those that used to be defensive, fights basically in that division might be a rather high-scoring game between Pittsburgh and Baltimore when they play.
Yeah, I like man, that's going to be a fun game. Pittsburgh's defense in that game. Pittsburgh's got the far better defense, but right now, So again, we're not getting for some reason we're not getting the Facebook. It just says Facebook user, but so inconsistent. But got the win. He's talking about Pittsburgh. So hey, that's all that matters. Win.
A win is a win is a win. And it's is it Thursday night that it's No, Thursday night is what, Washington and Philly, right? Something like that.
That's okay.
That should be an interesting one on Thursday. What's going on, Los? It's Los on Facebook. No, I'm with you with the inconsistency with Pittsburgh, but at the same time, they have their identity. They're a run first, smash mouth type of team with play action, football with Russell Wilson, and they play good defense. And they got the weapons on the outside when they do have to throw the ball in Pickens and others. So I like their tight end too, Firemouth or whatever, Firemuth, whatever. So I like this Pittsburgh team. I like the way the Pittsburgh team is constructed. And Mike Tomlin is one of the best coaches in football. So I can't wait for Pittsburgh, Baltimore. That's going to be a fun game.
It's a redemption tour there in Pittsburgh. You got the redemption of Wilson, and even Justin Fields, played well in the first quarter of the season. And also Arthur Smith as their OC. Remember, he was kind of after getting fired. So So I'm guessing Carlos says they thump, but man, they need to score more points. I don't know. Hey, they score more than the other team. That's all that matters. So
right.
You know what I mean? But they can't. I think with that defense, they damn near can keep almost all teams in check. Like it's all that matters. You know.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They got good defensive players at all three levels. They got some good defensive linemen, obviously with Watt and Hayward. You know what I'm saying? They got Patrick Queen in the linebacking core, and then you got Minkah Fitzpatrick in safety. You got Porter Jr. at corner, and there's still some young players. So you know what I'm saying? This Pittsburgh team again, they drafted 2 stud offensive linemen early in the draft, so they're only going to continue to get better. Najee is finally turning into who we thought he could be coming out of Alabama now that they've solidified that offensive line. And again, they're not asking Russ to do too much, but when he does have to go, to the outside, you've got studs out there to make plays for him. So I love the way this Pittsburgh team is built. They're only going to get better as the season goes along.
Agreed. A team that's not getting better is the Vikings. They don't even score an offensive touchdown in this game. They win 12-7 against Jackson. I do like the Jags white helmets. They were cool. But this game was absolute dog shit. Sam Darnold, 3 interceptions, 2 of them in the end zone.
In the end zone, bro. I was like, come on, man. At least cover the damn spread, bro.
I got Sam Darnold on.
That's all I was thinking about was please cover the spread. Damn.
I needed Sam Darnold to score some touchdowns. Aaron Jones gets hurt in this game, 1788 yards. He gets carted off. TJ Hockenson, 8 for 72. Justin Jefferson, 5 for 48. Whoop, the mic's falling here. And we get to the Jags here real quick. It was Mac Jones. It's being reported Trevor Lawrence is going to have surgery. He's going to be done for the year. So it's going to be the Mac Jones show for the next 8 games or so. 14 to 22, 111 yards, 2 interceptions. Travis Etienne, 11 for 44. And Evan Ingram, 6 for 40. So any thoughts here on Jacksonville stinking it up, and really Sam Darnold stinking it up, kind of reverting back to the Sam Darnold of the Jets era?
Yeah, it was a completely boring as dog shit game. Minnesota should have completely blown them out. You mentioned Sam Darnold's interceptions, 2 of them being in the end zone. You can see Justin Jefferson was all kinds of frustrated. Luckily for them, Jacksonville is complete trash. So they were still able to win a game in Minnesota, but they could have easily blown Jacksonville out the water here. It sucks to hear about Trevor Lawrence with the injury. And again, another one of these quarterbacks that was so highly praised coming out of college. He's missed a lot of time with injuries. He's been inconsistent. He's been inefficient. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens going down the road with Jacksonville. But like you mentioned, it's the Mac Jones show now for the rest of the season for Jacksonville. Can he do something to possibly give him an opportunity somewhere else after the season? We'll find out about that. But this division is going to be Houston's by default, and Houston hasn't even looked great. I don't know what's going on with the game right now. I don't got it on right now
with the ball.
Yeah, they're up 7-0 right now, but Houston's going to win this division by default because every other team in that division is absolute trash. And Houston has the best quarterback out of all the teams there in C.J. Stroud, even though he's not playing as well as he did last year. They've got the better team, the better players. I think Houston will get it going as we get towards the end of the season here. They'll start playing a little bit better. And again, it's not like anybody else in that division is going to catch them. So it's going to be a long season and off season for all 3 of those teams, Tennessee, Indianapolis, and Jacksonville. But Minnesota, man, Sam Darnold, you got to play a lot better if you're going to give your Vikings an opportunity to actually compete for that division.
Yeah, and he wants to know, is the quarterback play or play calling so bad for a team rolling at the beginning of the season in Minnesota? I think it's
the quarterback play.
Yeah,
I don't think it's the play calling. Those decisions that he made and those passes into the end zone were horrible fucking throws. Those were bad throws.
Trying to force it to Justin Jefferson. Just
right.
trying to
Right,
force
which you can't do. You gotta just, you just gotta read your progressions and just go. But when you
Take
do
what
throw
the
it to
defense
Justin
gives you.
right, take what the defense gives you. But when you do throw to Justin Jefferson, throw it to where either he catches it or nobody catches it. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, he completely was off on the 2 interceptions that were in the end zone. So those were horrible throws. So I can't blame the play calling on that. I gotta blame Sam Darnold and those horrible passes that he made.
Yeah, agreed. I think hopefully he'll get it right, and he's just having a bad stretch here, and he'll fix it. But you know what I mean? Yeah. So he's talking about the AFC South. The division went too crappy from stank real quick. Yeah, 100%. Alan saying,
and that the worrisome thing about Minnesota too is we don't know to what degree Aaron Jones is hurt. So they may be looking to solidify that backfield and get another running back in there, because they're not going to want Sam Darnold to throw the ball 35, 40 times. They want to be able to run the ball, do play action and stuff like that. If they're going to count on Sam Darnold to throw the ball around 30-something times, they're going to have a lot more games like this one.
Yeah. I would say the AFC East is garbage and the AFC South is garbage outside of Houston and the Bills in those two divisions. Like,
basically.
The Bills are probably going to run away with that division right now, and because everybody else, and we'll get to the Jets here in a minute. We'll get to the AFC South. It got a little bit closer with Atlanta falling today. The Saints snapping their 7-game losing streak, win for the old the interim head coach. Get this, Johnny. MVS can't catch passes from Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, but shit, he can catch passes from Derek Carr. Derek Carr, 269 yards, 2 touchdowns. MVS, 3 for 109 and 2 touchdowns. And it's only second game as a Saint. Alvin Kamara, 17 for 55 yards. Young Ho Koo missed a couple field goals, including a game-tying field goal. 3, including a game tire in this one late in the game. Falcons lose here. Kirk Cousins, 306 yards, 1 interception. Bijan Robinson had a nice game, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns. Drake London, 8 for 97. Kyle Pitts, 4 for 55. But Saints snapped the losing streak and find a way to win.
Yeah, this was a total letdown by Atlanta. You cannot lose this fucking game, bro. There's no way that you can lose this game to the New Orleans Saints. They just fired their coach. They've been playing like shit. Their number 1 wide receiver just got knocked the F out, and is gone for God knows how long. And I, no disrespect to him. I hope he gets better soon or whatever. But Atlanta, you had an opportunity to take a hold of this division, and you completely just piss down your leg against the New Orleans Saints here. Not only just the kicker missing those field goals, but you had opportunities in this game. Valdez Scantling apparently he can only catch bad passes because they were talking so much crap about Derek Carr throws. They were saying Derek Carr throws hospital passes to receivers. So maybe those are the only kind of catches that's MVS can make or whatever. But Atlanta, man, like Bijan had a good game. I mean, Kirk Cousins for the most part he had some good numbers. Yeah, you have to win this game right here, man. That was such a disappointment.
We've said this before, folks. Like, more games in the NFL are lost than won, and Atlanta lost the game more than the Saints won the game. With the,
absolutely, absolutely agree with that, man. Atlanta just completely choked today. When they had opportunity, especially with Tampa losing, like you had an opportunity to really go jump ahead in this division, and now you left the door open for Tampa Bay if they get healthy to come after you. I know Atlanta has beaten them the 2 times, but the way Atlanta played today, if they play like this another couple times, that they can easily lose to anybody. They showed it today. They could lose to a team that lost 7 in a row.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I have no confidence in any team. I have more confidence in the Bucs than I do in any other team in the NFC South.
We'll see what happens, though. You got to win in all 3 phases of the game, man. That's why there's 3 phases. So 10 field goals altogether today, 2 were blocked. So thanks, Alan, for that update. It did seem like a lot of missed kicks today. The kickers, man, all day today. San Francisco Atlanta getting 3. The shoes. Hey, maybe. Maybe it's got to be the shoes, Mike. Got my official Jordan Whittington jersey in the mail today. Pretty cool to have a Rams address with my last name on it. And also, let's talk about Miami Dolphins Rams win in football, buddy. Hey, we'll see.
We'll see. We can talk about that tomorrow.
Yeah. That's why Tampa Bay will be the one to come out. Well,
that's who I would put my money on.
I don't know.
That's who I would. I mean, I got to give Atlanta the advantage because they beat Tampa Bay twice already.
Twice. That's the key for me. Let me look at Atlanta's.
But at the same time, like I have more faith and trust in Todd Bowles and Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans when he comes back. Like I have more confidence and faith in the Bucs than I do in Atlanta. If you can't go into New Orleans and beat up a New Orleans team who just fired their head coach, like I said, their number one wide receiver is out.
Yeah, got problems.
Like you have to win that game right there, man. You know what I'm saying? And you completely choked. So yeah, they beat Tampa Bay twice, but if Atlanta's not careful, I can see Tampa Bay taking this division.
Yeah, it looks like. So I'm looking at Atlanta's. They got a tougher schedule for sure, but it's not too bad. So they got the Broncos. The Broncos could beat them next week. That's a tough game. Or in 2 weeks, they got a bye next week. Or no, the 17th is that next weekend? Yeah. So then they got the Chargers, another tough game. The Vikings are a tough game. Then they do have the Raiders, Giants. Those are winnable games. Then they got the Commanders. Then they got the Panthers. Man,
they could easily go 3-3.
Yeah.
In those last 6 games. So if the Bucs, you know what I'm saying, I mean, I don't know what exactly the standings are. Are they a game or two up on?
Hold on 1 second. So the standings right now are in the AFC West or NFC West, sorry.
South. NFC South.
NFC South, yeah. They're 2 games up, 6-4, 4-6. But again, they got the fact that that's like they're 2 games up, but we're really like 4 games up.
Yeah, because they beat them twice head to head. Yeah. So it's gonna take, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's gonna. But again, in the NFC,
anything's
man, because you might have 3 teams coming out of your division yourself.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting. The Bucs are gonna have to go on a bit of a run here, but I mean, I still have no confidence in Atlanta. If you can lose to the 2-7 Saints, you can lose all 6 of those games they got left.
Yeah,
to be quite honest. So we'll see what happens.
Speaking of one of the worst teams, we asked if the Giants were the worst team. The Titans might be right there with them. Our boy Sam is going through it 27-17. This was my survivor pick. The Chargers absolutely demolished the Titans. Will Levis, 175 and 2 touchdowns. I mean, they couldn't get the running game going. Calvin Ridley had a nice game, 5 for 84 and 2 touchdowns. So at least he can stop complaining that he's not getting the ball. They just ain't winning games. Justin Herbert, 14-18, 164 yards, 1 touchdown. But I mean, that's not how they win the game anymore. They're not putting it on Herbert to win the game. He's not dropping back, 20, 30 times anymore. It's, and then Gus Edwards, 10 for 55. J.K. Dobbins, 10 for 50. Ladd McConkey only had 2 receptions. I mean, it's like their passing game's not existent, but they're going to play really good defense, and they're going to run the ball. They're going to grind it out. That's Jim Harbaugh football, baby. And the Chargers are a surprise team of the year, and very much so should be.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, and it's exactly like you said, that is a Jim Harbaugh-led football team. They're about running the ball, playing good defense. They had a top pick this year. Everybody was talking about them taking the Brock Bowers, the tight end. And what did Jim Harbaugh do? No, he took the best offensive lineman that was available to solidify this offensive line. So that's 3 years in a row that the Chargers have taken the top offensive lineman on the board. And that's how you build the line for a good young quarterback. They're establishing themselves as with the identity of being a running team with a quarterback who's capable of making those throws that you may need to come back in a game or whatever. So they've taken the pressure off of Justin Herbert to carry the load, and now they're just asking him to be a complementary piece. But if he does have to make, specific throws, he obviously has the ability to do it. They use his legs well, because that's one thing people don't think about a lot about with Justin Herbert, is that he can move. You know what I'm saying? So they use his legs a couple times. They do a lot of bootlegs with him and stuff. So I love what Jim Harbaugh has done for the Chargers and for Justin Herbert. I think he's obviously the way he coaches and the way he builds his team is gonna keep Justin Herbert upright first and foremost, and hopefully keep him healthy, because they're not asking him to drop back 40 times. They're running the ball. They're playing smash mouth football, and that's what you're gonna have to do if you're gonna be a Chiefs team. You have to keep Patrick Mahomes and that offense off the field. So you're going to have to be able to run the ball. So I like what the Chargers are doing. It doesn't always look the prettiest, but they're effective, and they do what they got to do to win the ball game. I'm happy for J.K. Dobbins. He's finally healthy after those couple years with Baltimore where he was injury plagued. He's healthy. He's playing well. So big ups to the Chargers. Big win. Sam, shout out to Sam. Nothing but love for you, Sam. I still think Levis has some ability. I think he needs some more time to develop. But that was a mistake they made. They didn't go for offensive linemen to help that kid out, because he needs to be protected. They can't. They have no offensive line in Tennessee at all.
They did draft a tackle for the first pick. It was right after
they should have signed. They should have signed. You know what I'm saying, instead of Calvin Ridley and stuff like that. You should have gotten a couple free agents on the offensive line too, to continue with the offensive line. And maybe that money that you gave Calvin Ridley, you could have gave it to Derrick Henry and not let him go to Baltimore, and that might have helped out your quarterback to have a better running attack.
Yeah, they should have never let it. I think this is 100% true. Letting Derrick Henry and letting coach and firing Mike Vrabel, they should have never done any of those. I don't think I'm agreeing here too. Levis is the perfect fit in Canada, probably. So I don't think NFL quarterback. That team stinks. I'm not too sure Callahan's the right guy to run the show as a head coach there.
It's hard for me to say that 8 games into the man's career, especially since that wasn't the quarterback that he picked. But I'm not getting
any better. That's the thing.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. But I'm with you though. I'm a big Vrabel fan, and maybe it was just time for him to go because he had been there for so long. But I ain't gonna front. As a Dolphin fan, if we decide to move past Mike McDaniel, Vrabel would be somebody I wouldn't mind the Dolphins looking into.
Yeah, every team that has an opening this year should be
calling Mike Vrabel. Yeah, because he'll be able to build your organization and give you an identity.
Speaking of a team that has an identity and the right coach, we've said this. That's the Arizona Cardinals. We did this way back last year. That even though they weren't talented, like they're well coached. Like they seem to play hard. They seem to be up. You know what I mean? But now this year,
they're always prepared and they're ready to go.
This year, year 2, they are kicking they are running, and they got a chance to win this AFC or NFC West. Like, I think the Rams can still win it. The 49ers are right there. And now this Cardinals team beats the shit out of the Jets, 31-6. The Jets are they're the most disappointing team there is in the NFL. They can't change my mind. Name another team more disappointing than them? You can't. Because they had Super Bowl aspirations, and after last week, you're like, oh, maybe they'll get it turned around. It looks like they got it turned around. No, they fucking don't. Cardinals roll 31-6. Arizona 6-4. Jets fall to 3-7. Maybe Bob Saleh wasn't the problem because their defense has gotten way worse every game since he's been fired. 22-35, 151 yards. Breece Hall 10 for 52. Garrett Wilson, 5 for 41. Devontae, 6 for 31. No touchdowns. The Jets couldn't even score an offensive touchdown. And then you can look at Kyler, 22-24. Again, only 2 incomplete passes against what was this vaunted Jets defense. 266 yards, 1 touchdown. Also ran in for another one, or two of them, should I say, 3 for 21, 2 touchdowns rushing. Troy Benson, 10 for 62. Marvin Harrison, 5 for 54 and a touchdown. James Conner caught 5 balls as well. The Cardinals, man, they got a chance to really kind of win this. The AFC West is going to come down to, while they're all kind of mediocre, it's going to be fun because you can make a case for each of those teams, to win this division.
Yeah, I really like what Arizona has done. You mentioned it. We talked about it last year and a lot in the beginning of this year. What is it? What the hell's the coach's name? Gannon. I always forget his name, but I mentioned it a lot last year. He always had the team prepared. They always played hard for him. They just didn't have the talent last year, and of course, Kyler was out for a big portion of last year. But this year, second year, not only are they prepared, but they've got some talent. Kyler's healthy, making plays. He had an awesome performance today. As far as the Jets, I did not have high expectations for the Jets. This was a total media-made thing, and this knucklehead on Jet Up on ESPN every morning, sweating the Jets, thinking that a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers, who I am a big fan of Aaron Rodgers, but my man is coming off of a torn Achilles, and there was so much hype about them possibly being a Super Bowl contender. I never bought that for 1 second this year, them being a possible Super Bowl contender. That vaunted Jets defense that everybody was talking about last year, they gave it up every week pretty much last year. They gave it up after the first few weeks of the season. Including 30-something points to my Dolphins twice. So for this vaulted defense, all that smack that they were talking, they don't play like a top defense. And the offense hasn't done any better. They went out and made the trade for Adams. That hasn't really done nothing for them. So they were just a bunch of hype that the Jets were getting, but they haven't lived up to it. So in my eyes, they aren't the biggest disappointment because I wasn't expecting them to be all that good anyway. You know what I'm saying? And it's just coming to fruition. But the Cardinals, I did not expect them to be this good. And they seem to be for real. Right now, they're tops in that division. And I'm excited about the way they're playing. Kyler Murray, again, he had a phenomenal day today. He is definitely a top nominee for Dog of the Week. He had a phenomenal game today. He just looks so comfortable in this offense that they're running. They have an identity running the ball with James Conner. They got a good young defense that's flying all over the place. I like what Arizona's doing. And the Jets are in a world of hurt because they've got a lot of guys that are going to be free agents after this year. They got a lot of big contracts, and then now you're going to be going into a year where you're going to have a 41-year-old quarterback leading your team. So the Jets are in a world of hurt along with their roommates, the Giants. So it's going to be a rough season for New York football all the way around.
Yeah, amen to that. Real quick, yeah, I don't know. I didn't think Vegas had them up +7, the Cardinals. But they were dogs at home to the Jets, so
that was easy money right there.
Yeah. So I said the stuff about Rodgers from day one. Catch me on the Sports Scope. I had the Jets and Giants and drafting 4 or 5 this coming year. That they might be 3-4, which that's probably right, Los. Like for sure.
I'm right there with you, Los. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, it has not been great in New York. They're going to be – I think Aaron Rodgers retires, to be honest.
I wouldn't blame him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know he didn't want to go out with the whole Achilles thing, but I know he's probably looking back right now like, damn, I should have came out of that darkness retreat and been like, nah, I'm just going to retire. Because you know what I'm saying? You know how – I mean, we still would have – I mean, he still belongs on that pedestal because he was just that phenomenal of a quarterback. But these last 2 years with the Jets just ain't a good look.
No, it's not. Let's get into the last game of the day. The Eagles absolutely slapped the shit out of the Cowboys, 34-6. Jalen Hurts, 14 of 20, 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Saquon Barkley, 14 for 66. Jalen Hurts also ran 2 touchdowns in. A.J. Brown, nice game, 5 for 109. So, and then you get to the Cowboys. There's nothing to even say. Cooper
No point.
Rush, 13 to 23. Yeah, I mean, there's not much in the rushing game, not much in the passing game. CD did have 6 catches for only 21 yards, though. Mike McCarthy's on the future fired coaches list. I've been saying that. So it's all bad here in Dallas. It's all in. Jerry Jones is what I said earlier today. But man, any thoughts on the Eagles just absolutely slapping around the Cowboys?
No, the Eagles are only getting better. They're getting healthy, which is a scary thought because they got some guys coming back, including Goddard that came back this week. So they're only going to get better. Saquon's going to get more comfortable behind that offensive line. The Eagles are going to be scary. Them and Detroit, I would probably put as the top 2 teams in the NFC right now. But I'm not completely sleeping on the Cardinals again, like we talked about the Cardinals
or the Commanders,
the Commanders.
We'll find out a lot between the Eagles.
We'll find out a lot on Thursday. The Lions obviously 7-1. They're playing tonight. The Vikings are 7-2. We'll see how real that is with the way Sam Darnold played today. But I really like what Philly's doing. Dallas is just a complete hot fucking mess. I don't see why they don't just turn it over to Trey Lance and just see what you got.
Yeah.
Just let him finish off the season. Like I wouldn't even if Dak is healthy for 4 years, I still wouldn't play him. I would just let him sit out.
They've pretty much said Dak's having season-ending surgery.
He is having the surgery.
Yeah, I mean,
you might as well. You got your $60 million. You ain't making the playoffs. Don't even fool yourselves into thinking you can make a run because you can't. So why not just play Trey Lance the rest of the season and see if there's actually something there that can be developed and maybe you might have something going forward. Otherwise, be prepared to have a top 10 pick. And if you do have a top 10 pick, you better take a quarterback. Don't mess around.
You got to take an offensive line or a receiver. Like, they need some help. They need everything.
Yeah, they do need everything. Actually, don't take a quarterback so that way won't fall to Miami. Don't take a quarterback. Jonathan is so pissed off at me because I keep saying that we need to draft a quarterback. He's so mad, but
the left arm guy. The left arm
guy.
What
it is, man. I mean, I think he's gonna play well the rest of the season, but I just can't trust him. I don't want to have to be holding my breath every time my man gets hit.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like I just can't do it. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens going forward. But Dallas is a hot mess. Philly looks good. That Thursday game is gonna be interesting. I hate the Thursday night games because sometimes you don't really see the true picture of what a team is because it's such a short week. So like that would have been a beautiful Sunday night game, Washington and Philly. You know what I'm saying? But we get it on Thursday night, so it should be a lot of fun. What happens there? But Rob, I'm with you, Rob. I'm Jerry Jones. I just
don't think Jerry's gonna let Bill buy all the groceries and everything.
Right. Which is what he should do, though. That is exactly what he should do because what's going to happen is he's not going to want to do that, and then Bill Belichick is going to go to the Giants, and then Dallas is going to be in for the next 10 years, bro. Watch.
Yeah, I appreciate. I don't know if it's me. I can't. I'm not getting no feedback on my end. I don't know if it's feedback on. You hearing feedback?
Yeah, I heard a little bit there.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe it's.
Oh well. All right. He won't bring either. And he probably won't bring either. And Alan's probably right too. He'll probably bring Kellen Moore. So
I was about to say he'll probably bring back Kellen Moore. I was just about to say that because he only likes the guys that he knows he can control.
Yeah,
that's what it is. So sorry, Alan. You know what I'm saying? You're in the same boat that we are. Listening to the band play the instruments while our Titanics sink and shit, bro. I'm right there next to you, Alan.
Let's go ahead and we'll give our turd of the week here. Who's your turd of the week?
My turn of the week could have gone to plenty of nominees for organizational wise. We could have gone to Chicago, either one of the New York teams. But I am going to stick with one of the New York teams. I try to defend this kid, but there is no defending this kid. Daniel Jones, 22 of 37, 190 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, missed so many wide open opportunities to make plays. So it's not like he just, I was under stress and was under pressure, couldn't make plays. He was missing wide open guys. Daniel Jones is hot garbage. I finally have to admit it. I was hoping that the kid could possibly show something, but he hasn't shown shit. So Daniel Jones is my turd of the week. To go overseas and lose to the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, you're definitely a big old turd, Daniel Jones.
Yeah, my turd of the week is none other than the Chicago Bears in that offense. In today's game, it is literally tailored for you to score points. The game is set up for you to score points. There's rules in place so you can easily score points. And the Bears have scored an offensive touchdown in 2 full games. They are on 20-plus consecutive drives without scoring a touchdown. The Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams sacked 8 times. The Chicago Bears offense and Matt Eberflus and that whole organization is my Week 10 turd of the week for not inept offense and inability to score.
Absolutely well deserved too, man. Like I said, there were a few different organizations. The Jets, as an organization, could have gotten the turd of the week. There was a lot of bad ones, but yeah, the whole offense of the 2 full games without scoring an offensive touchdown, that's rough.
Yeah. Let's get to our dog of the week. Who's your dog of the week, Johnny?
My dog of the week is Shorty. You know what I'm saying, Mr. Kyler Murray, Mr. Call of Duty himself. 22 of 24, 266 yards, 1 passing touchdown. He also ran the ball 3 times for 21 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. He broke the franchise record for consecutive completions with 17 in a row to finish off the game. Kyler Murray looked like he was playing, I want to say a man amongst boys, but when you're only 4'2", it's kind of hard to say that. But he was balling out there, and the Arizona Cardinals look like they are for real, and they are going to be competing for that NFC West. So Kyler Murray is my dog of the week.
Yeah, my Week 10 NFL dog of the week is none other than Ricky Purcell. And you're saying, why is he your dog of the week? I don't know, because the man got shot and almost died, and he comes back, and today in his second game, 4 receptions, 73 yards, scores his first career touchdown. When you come back after being shot in the chest like 50 fucking cent, and you come back and you score touchdowns, baby, you're a dog. And the 49ers win, and Ricky Purcell gets his first career touchdown. He's my NFL Week 10 dog of the week, baby.
Well deserved. Well deserved. If you can come back from a gunshot and play in an NFL game and score your first touchdown, shout out to Ricky Purcell. Good for him, man. And that was a big play for the 49ers, too. That was huge, getting that touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, Alan's right. Yeah. Mike Tomlin made the switch to Russ, and now looks like a genius. Yeah. And he's doing it smart. You got Russ in there, who's the vet, going to lead the team, and at the same time, you can develop Justin Fields to see if he's your future going forward. So that was just organizationally, that's just a much better, well-run organization, the Pittsburgh Steelers, than a lot of our franchises, Allen. You know what I'm saying? Our franchises ain't being run the way the Pittsburgh Steelers are, man. And shout out to Mike Tomlin. Doesn't get enough love for how good of a coach and a leader of men that he is. Yeah, and some Steeler fans still shit on this man because he hasn't won a playoff
because
game.
They're spoiled. They're spoiled Steeler fans. You know what I'm saying? As a Yankee fan, I get it because a lot of Yankee fans are spoiled and don't realize what they have sometimes, but Pittsburgh fans, you guys got a hell of a coach, a great organization, great ownership. Be happy with what you got. They're only going to get better. There's so much young talent on that team too. Pittsburgh is only going to get better, man. It's scary to think of.
No doubt. That pretty much wraps it up, Johnny. You got any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, just a nice, fun Sunday watching some football. If you didn't check out our weekly dump, check it out this morning. We didn't get an opportunity to give you our top 5 this week. We're doing our top 5 favorite Saturday morning cartoons. So for all you people out there, throw all your suggestions and your top 5 lists in the comments. But definitely check that out. And just looking forward to next week. If you don't find me here on the Bodkins Show, you can find me on the Let's Talk Sports Network, and you can also find me on Kendall Sports Network as well.
Yeah. Again, we put out the morning dump, the weekly dump this morning. Please check that out. Talked all things college football, little NBA. So please watch that. Plus, talk a little TV and things like that as well, like always. So this has been another great episode of the Bodkins Show. Hey, real quick, shout out to all the veterans, myself as well. Not myself, but happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. Enjoy your all the free meals that you deserved and earned. So happy Veterans Day to all the other veterans out there in the United States and really all the world, because no matter what country you're fighting for, you're still a veteran and decided to sign. So
absolutely appreciate. Thank you for your service too, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Nonetheless, so happy Veterans Day to all the veterans. Enjoy your free meals tomorrow. I mean, I'm going to go to IHOP first thing in the morning at give me some free pancakes. So
nice.
Well
deserved, bro. Well deserved.
But all right. Other than that, folks, be a friend, tell a friend, like, subscribe, share. We'll see you next Sunday. This time 8:00 Central or 7:00 Central, 8 Eastern. See you then.
Peace.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, let's talk sport, friends. Thanks for watching.